Hey, Patty.
Hi there.
How are you? Oh, that's loud. Okay, loud. All right, we're recording now. Hello, Patty. Hello, Charlie. We're on the Zoom side. Let me go ahead and it's 7:59. Feeling fine. And let me go ahead and get the Facebook Live going. We're gonna go. I'm going live tonight on Facebook. I haven't been
Hey, you're
consistent on
back
that.
home.
Yeah, yeah. Powers of observation. Let's see here. At Get a Clue in 52. And what are we going to title this thing? It's tip number.
Coach Jeff, morning, Patty.
Good morning. He says, do tip number 30. Oops. How about that? Okay, tip number 30. Let's start going live here on Facebook. And all right, hello, Facebook, Zoom. We're streaming to YouTube. It's 8 o'clock straight up. Hello, Patty and Charlie. Patty in Chicago, Charlie in South Africa. Whoever's watching on the Zoom, on the Facebook side, hello to you too. If you want to interact live, just come on in over into Zoom. It's very easy. www.tinyurl tinyurl.com/get a clue. Very, very easy to join. Direct link into the Zoom. We're here for another installment of Get a Clue in 52. As astute Patty pointed out right away, I'm back in familiar surroundings. I got my man Shaquille O'Neal behind me. I got the flag that reminds me of my dad behind me. Mom and dad's ashes are there on the mantle. I got my family in the other room finishing a dinner that I got 10 minutes of before coming on board. I've got beer from a local San Diego brewery, which I missed dearly while I was in the South. I got to tell you something. I love being in the South. I'll answer questions about that, but we're here to read a tip from the book, Get a Clue in 52. But I'm back in my familiar surroundings, the first time since, mid-June, really, that I've been home at this desk for an installment of Get a Clue in 52. And by now, you know what we do. We read one tip out of 52 every single week, every Sunday night at 8 o'clock Pacific. It was 11 o'clock Eastern. I didn't mess with the timing. I just went the extra mile, whether I was in the front seat of a car or, last week, I think I was riding shotgun while AJ was driving home from a baseball game. Anyway, whatever it takes, the show must go on. Tonight, we're at tip number 30 overall. 30 out of 52. We're way more than halfway through the year. Is that right? 30? I mean, it's just amazing how quickly things go by, which is why you should always take advantage of every opportunity. It's always, I think, I heard it from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who were quoting the Butthole Surfers when they said, the Butthole Surfers said, it's better to regret something you did than something you didn't do. Time is going by so fast. We're coming out of this, in and out of this pandemic. Life is precious. Take advantage of every opportunity you have to cross stuff off your bucket list, create memories that will be there for you later on, live your life. Anyway, here we go. Get a Clue in 52. 5 categories: accountability, communication, networking, sales, marketing. We've already covered all 10 tips in communication. We've covered all 12 tips in marketing. And now we're on tip number 8 in the networking section, which brings us to 30 overall. Isn't that amazing? 30. Things just go so quickly. It wasn't too long ago. Do you remember when everybody was like, are you done with 2020 yet? Are you ready for 2021? Do you remember all of those? Remember that, right? Oh, can't wait for 2020 to be over. Well, don't blink because 2021 is almost over. It's amazing. A lot of my excitement about all of that is knowing, as I get ready to read tonight's tip, knowing my son and I just came off of something that we'll never forget. Nobody will ever take away from us. It was pretty incredible. It was only 4.5 weeks, but we did so much. I posted about it tonight on Facebook. I put like 12 different points, highlights, summarizing the whole trip. So if you want to know about that, that's fine. But that's not the purpose of tonight. Tonight, we want to read another tip from the book and then pivot into group communication, group coaching, whatever it happens to be. Let's see what Patty and Charlie have for us this week. So let me go ahead and review the tips that we've gone over in networking thus far. In the networking section, the tips that we have covered. First of all, tip number 1, develop an elevator pitch. Tip number 2, repeat tip number 1. I have a lot to say about elevator pitches. I've reviewed those tips extensively in previous tips, but you don't want to just have one pitch. You want to have more than one pitch, because it's not really about the pitch. It's about the promise. What promise can you make? What competitive advantages do you have that back up that promise, right? How do people get a hold of you and so forth? All right. Tip number 3, learn and master active listening skills. Typo in the book. We got to replace that word marketing to listening. The best way to listen to good stuff is ask good questions. You'll have good stuff to listen to. But you got to build rapport first and trust first, and then you'll get even better answers to those good questions. If people don't trust you, they're going to be guarded. So build trust, build rapport, ask good questions, do good listening. I digress. Tip number 4, look for synergy. When you do one thing that serves more than one purpose. Yeah, I went to the South this summer to play baseball for AJ, but we did a bunch of other things, college visits, Padre fanaticism, teaching AJ to manage a schedule, and you got a lot of driving practice for him. I mean, we did a lot of things with that one thing. I digress. Tip number 5, look for leverage. Leverage is like when you bring some tool. It doesn't have to be a physical tool. It could be a cerebral tool or an intellectual tool, a concept, a strategy, but some tool that gives you more power in a situation that you'd have without the tool. Power is the ability to move things. I digress. And by the way, Charlie, are you with me, Charlie?
Yes, Coach Jeff, I am.
He says, yes, Coach Jeff. There it is. Power is the ability to move things. There's your Kluby snack right there. I digress. Here we go. Tip number 6, positioning is power. We talked about positioning is power. And then it was last week that we talked about tip number 7. I did that riding shotgun at 11 o'clock at night in Atlanta. Master these 7 reversible questions. There's 7 questions that if you're ready to ask them, you'll learn really good things about people. And it's only a matter of time before they start asking you questions that are similar. So you want to have answers to those 7 questions for yourself, in addition to being able to ask them of others. Now, as we're going to get to at some point in the tips, is that if you seek to ask those questions first and learn, if you're seeking first to learn about the other person, and you have more than one elevator pitch, then you could pick the right elevator pitch that's going to match the answers that you just got. Charlie was so wonderful last year about stringing the pearls, seeing the connection between one tip and another as we went through all 52. So that brings us to tonight, doesn't it? Here we are. Tip number 8. And, there's no rocket science here. There's no brain teasers here. There's no Kluba diving here. There's no depth of travel to get to this tip. It's very, very simple. Tip number 8, and I'm going to go ahead and read it on page 75, word for word. Follow up / through. Follow up, follow through. Here we go. Everybody ready at 8:07 p.m.? Page 75. Here we go. Only a portion of the work of networking takes place during the events you attend. The rest of the work is done after the event. In fact, networking is worthless without follow up and follow through. It is a great idea to have a pen handy to write notes onto business cards with keywords that may prompt the specific follow-up in order to build that relationship. Determine a system, parentheses, like a CRM or digital marketing platform, for processing contact info and business cards in ways that will remind and keep you accountable to follow up and follow through on the field work of networking, right? So I'm making this point, I'm not reading word for word anymore. And I'm almost like want to make a note into my own book here that there's actually some work that takes place before the field work, right? If we talk about synergy and leverage, we're thinking a lot or imagining a lot about what other things I could get done when I do this one networking deal, or what can I bring with me to this networking event that's going to give me more power, the ability to move things in the directions that I want them moved, right? So networking isn't net sitting. It's not net eating. It's not joining arm in arm with one comfort, like a security blanket friend, right? It's working, working. People so there's work before the event. There's work during the event, which is the field work, actually being there. And tonight's tip is about follow up and follow through, the work that you do after the field work of networking. Charlie, can I read that again? Determine a system for processing. Determine a system, parentheses, like CRM or digital marketing platform, for processing contact info and business card in ways. Don't just process, but process in ways that will remind you and keep you accountable to follow up and follow through on the field work of networking. I like that. Follow up and follow through on the field work of networking. All right, I digress. Let's go. Oh, that's it. Whoa, that's it. I turned the page and we're on tip 9. It's next week already. Oh, I'm just kidding. All right, there it is. That's tonight's tip, right? What are you strategic? Are you synergistic? Are you leveraged about the follow up and follow through of networking? A really, really good example for me, it's close to me right now, is these people that I met when I was in Atlanta, teammates and the parents of teammates of my son, AJ, right? So there's a couple parents I think, you know what, I want to stay in touch with this person. If that person's son is getting looks and attention from colleges and I build a good rapport with this person, maybe you'll say, hey, we had this teammate from California that you should look at also. So it only takes one relationship. It takes one contact, one connection to change your life forever. I mean, that's been proven over and over and over again in so many different ways. So the more you follow up and follow through, the better your chances. It's that simple. All right, let me go ahead and ask Patty and Charlie. Well, let me go ahead and get off the headset. Let me ask Patty and Charlie to open up. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
Just so you know, Charlie's not feeling too well, so he's
Charlie's going to be incognito tonight a little bit.
a little bit.
All right. Well,
A little bit of it. My voice also is a bit croaky, sneezing, coughing, everything.
Hey, as long as you keep on putting that dapper picture of yourself up on screen, we'll all be okay. All right. Now, second, Godspeed to your recovery, your wellness, your health, and the health of everybody out there in South Africa. I heard things are crazy lately, but that's true in the world, right?
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily a tip in the book, but something that when I accidentally grabbed my friend and colleague and client Vipul's book, which is really good. On Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock, he reads a tip from this one. I recommend you get there. But this is something Brian Tracy taught me. Weeds grow on their own. All of the ills in the world, they happen rather automatically. It's up to us to grow the good stuff, the nutrients, the herbs, the vegetables, the fruits, the things that sustain life and give life to life and vitality to life. That requires sunlight and water and nutrients and soil and love and some good vibration, right? And that's our job. Our job is to invest in growing the good stuff because weeds will grow on their own. So Charlie, I love you because despite how you're feeling, despite what may be happening all around you, you're here, to just grow, even if you just grow a little bit or make a difference for somebody else. But you're excused. You don't have to dominate the conversation tonight. We'll carry it for you. Patty, your microphone's open up. Do you have anything for us tonight on Get a Clue in 52?
Well, it's a very brief little tip here, but it's really full of all the possibilities that you can do to develop a follow through and follow up with people that you meet. And you didn't mention it so much, but it'd be good to kind of, I think, for people that I know, have a system so they know that, they met this person, where they met them, and how they're going to be in touch with them.
Yeah, I didn't cluba dive in the tip on how to set up your CRM or what types of platforms, or I didn't cluba dive on the strategy so much of follow-up. I left it to people's imagination. Clearly, I'm hoping that people say, hey, Jeff, can we do a couple sessions and brainstorm this a little bit? Do you have any strategies for follow-up and follow-through? I do. And, I'm going to tell you, though, it's not this tip. It's not rocket. I said it from the go. It's not rocket science. It's not thought leadership. It's not wow or an aha or something revolutionary. It's very simple. It's basic. Follow up and follow through.
Yes, no, I understand that.
Yeah, you get it. The imagination, you're only limited by your creativity, but here's what I want to say. There's social media, there's Messenger. People are getting bombarded by LinkedIn with all of the cold calling, so to speak. I even recently invested in a lead generation system to see if I could do it better or different. I found a vendor that I really like and admire. They referred to me by another group that I'm working with to do peer advisory. Anyway, we're bombarded, right? But like, I just want to say this, unless there's any questions that provoke me to say anything else. Nothing beats the telephone. Like to this day, the best thing to do is pick up the phone and call somebody and be ready and be willing and able to talk in real time. Everybody's doing one-way communication for their follow-up and follow-through. And one-way communication is, I think, less than 50% effective than two-way. There's the Kluby snack for tonight. That's it. That's another one, right? According to Kluby, one-way communication is less than 50% effective than two-way communication. ... Pick up the damn phone. So I don't know what's happened. Technology is supposed to help everything, make things easier, but people are afraid to just pick up the phone and make a phone call. And I grew up in old school, and the phone was all we had. We didn't have internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't have Messenger and LinkedIn and text and Snapchat and the gram. And we didn't have all that stuff, which is all one-way communication. We picked up the phone. We dialed, anywhere from 7 to 10 numbers to get a hold of the person that we want to talk to. And we talked in real time. And we had to be ready for whatever they'd say. Or we had to be ourselves, vulnerable, intimate, on and on. So I get in all kinds of follow-up funnels and CRMs and drip campaigns and, contact nurturing. I can get on all that. But unless I'm provoked to say otherwise, pick up the damn phone, make a phone call. Anyway, I thank you for smiling, Patty. We are in Get a Klu in 52. We read tip number 30 tonight overall, which was number 8 in the networking section. It's a very simple tip. Follow up, follow through. And here's the last point that I'm going to make. Well, I think I'm going to make, unless I'm prompted to make another point. What's the difference, Patty? Maybe you can help me with this because you were here last year when we did this tip. What's the difference between follow up and follow through? Why would I put both of those words in the label or the name of the tip? What's the difference? Mind the gap, Charlie, mind the gap. What's the difference between follow up and follow through? But Charlie, you're not feeling well. Let Patty answer.
Well, I think follow up to me means, to reach out to someone, whereas follow through means to do what you said you were going to do.
Okay. All right. Really cool. That's enough of a distinction. And I'm not here to praise gospel or preach gospel that I've got the only distinction of distinctions. I like that. Here's what I intended, right? The difference between follow up and follow through. You're right. Follow up is just one action. I make a call, I send an email, I write a handwritten. As a matter of fact, watch this. Oh, I picked the wrong drawer. Oh, I picked the right drawer. Right here in my drawer, right there, Get a Klu and envelopes at any point right here, striking distance. I could write a card. You see that? And send it in the mail. That's one. So whether it's an email, a phone call, a handwritten note, right? Sending a gift in the mail, anything that's one activity, right? I think that's follow up, an instance of follow up, right? Following up is like the unit version of follow through. You can follow up without following through, but you can't follow through without following up. Hey, another Kluby snack. Thank you, Patty. Are you writing these down? Because I'm not. My hands are full. Do you understand?
I wrote one of them down. All right.
Yeah. So follow through. Let's go back to let's preview a tip that we haven't gotten to yet in the book because we haven't gotten to the sales section of the book. But as a preview, we know everybody we talk to, either a 1, a 2, or a 3, right? A 1 is a buyer. And buyer, don't get that the wrong way. They're engaged, if you will, right? They're already, there's no concerns. They're ready. They know they want it, need it, whatever it is, whether it's buying from you or meeting with you, or being introduced by somebody or introducing you to somebody, whatever the thing is, they're ready. There's no objections, no concerns, no hesitation. That's a 1. Those are few and far between, right? A 3, they don't want to have anything to do with you. They don't get it. They don't understand, or they don't need it. They don't want it. Whatever it is, it's not your fault, but they're not your person. There's gonna be a lot more of those. And then in the middle, there's these 2s. They get it. They understand it. They might need it. They think they need it. They're not sure, but they've got at least 1 or more concerns that are preventing them from moving forward. So when I say follow through, right, that means closure or follow through to, remember I said leverage
Mm-hmm.
is when we have power, more power than we'd have otherwise. So what's power? Power is the ability to move things. So if I have a 1, I need to move them towards the meeting, the appointment, the introduction, the sale. If I have a 2, I have to move them towards yes to anything only after I've addressed all of their concerns. So I have to move them to share all their concerns with me, put me in a position to either adjust them or not. And then I need to move them into a 3 or an entry level 1. Does that make sense? And if it's a 3, I need to move them off my calendar, off my radar, so I have more time for 1s and 2s. But when I say follow through, it's closure. Hey, so-and-so, we met at the networking event. We talked about doing such and such. I'm following up in email. Hey, so-and-so, I sent you an email earlier today, and I thought I would follow up with a voicemail as well. I don't know if you check voicemail or email quicker. I might also send you a message on social because I really enjoyed meeting with you, and I want to follow up. Not just follow up, but follow through. So let's say they don't want to get back to you and they're a 3, right? That was disguised as a 2 in the networking situation. Well, now you could, hey, I called last week and I just thought I'd reach out again because I was really excited about what we talked about. I know people are busy and you got a lot of fish to fry. And if you're still interested, so now they get into what you were talking about, Patty's system, right? So 2 or 3 follow-ups in the first week, let a week go by, another follow-up or 2 in the second week, let another 2 weeks go by. Like you could do it chronologically or you could do it via channel. What channels am I going to use to follow up? What's my interval between follow-up attempts? But at some point, I got to be through with this person, through their concerns, or through to a sale or an appointment or an introduction. Does that make sense? Yes, so to me, follow through isn't a matter of doing what I said I would do. That's a matter of integrity, right? To me, following through is closure. Who is this person in my life? And am I following up and following through to optimize who this person is in my life? Nobody meets by chance. Everybody meets for a reason. But who's willing to see that through, right? If you really are a 3, I need to follow through to knowing that you're a 3. If you're a 2, I need to follow through to identifying all of your concerns. And if you're a 1, I need to follow through to a more optimized, whether it's an appointment, an introduction, or a sale. I got to follow through to those things, whether because people don't. They have what? The stack of business cards on their desk. They don't, I met somebody and I don't want to throw the card away because they might be important to me somewhere, but I'm not calling them. I'm not emailing them. I'm sure we've all been in those situations, what to do with the business cards. And it's different now on social media. People now hand each other's phones. Hey, type your information into my phone, right? But is that effective, right? Anyway, I digress. Follow through is to what's the goal for a 1, a 2, or a 3? And are you following up enough to follow through to the goal for a 1, the goal for a 2, and the goal for a 3 once you've identified who you're really talking to? All right, Get a Clue in 52, 8:22 p.m. We have read and discussed a little bit tip number 30 overall, which is tip number 8 in the networking section. We've got 2 more tips in the networking section before we start the sales section. Ooh, it gets exciting. We're going to wrap up the last 10 weeks of the year with wow. Mary Ann made beef and broccoli tonight with a little bit of rice for dinner. I wolfed it down in 10 minutes to get here in time, and I just burped. Okay, very good cooking. I'm so happy to be home with my wife's cooking, and my son is too. All right. Charlie, you've opened up. What do you want to say, my friend?
Hey, Coach Jeff, I just need to say thank you very much. You've actually spoken into a lot of what I wanted to get to, bringing back tip number 7 in asking the questions. That will also help you to understand what you need to and who you need to follow through on. For example, you mentioned that pick up the phone. If you didn't ask the question on what's your best way of communication or your best line of communication that you respond to it's quicker, you wouldn't know how to get hold of them. What I always tell young people that are around me at networking events is it is very important to follow up with a connection within 24 hours. Because if you're going to follow up with that person 2 weeks later, they've probably forgotten where you met and who you are and what is that all about, or what you spoke about. So it is very important to get through to them or to follow up with them, and then you can then set up appointments and so forth and continue the conversation if you do it as quick as possible.
Yeah, there's this old saying, strike while the iron is hot. You always want to eat food when it's most fresh, and
Absolutely.
when there's an excitement, a buzz, and energy from meeting somebody in person, the sooner the better that you follow up on that is ideal. Now, follow through is how many times do you reach out to that person until you've gotten through to whatever diagnosis that person really is and what goal you have for whatever that person is. So I teach everybody's a 1, a 2, or a 3. We need to figure out in our, however we figure it out, are they a 1, a 2, or a 3? And then what's the goal for a 1, a 2, or a 3? And then what's the follow-up required to get that person, to move that person to that ideal phase? So thank you for that contribution, Charlie. Get a Clue in 52 is rocking. 25 minutes in. Patty and Charlie are with me as always. Thank you guys so much. Anything else from either of you guys before we move towards wrapping up tonight?
No,
Patty says, nope. Patty,
Nothing.
all good, all good. Thank
Patty,
you.
I have to, I'm gonna observe, I'm gonna notice, you noticed that I was in familiar surroundings, but I think that at least, from the shoulders up, it looks like you're wearing something that I've never seen before. It's very colorful and it suits you. And one of the last times I saw you on a Zoom, you had more color on you than I've ever seen in one place in my life. Like, are you, I'm just going to ask.
It's summer. You got to wear bright colors.
Okay. It's just a summer thing, or
I guess maybe
summer, or have you, I don't know. I think that there's something special going on with you right now, and you're dressing accordingly or appropriately or consistent
it's
with
summer,
your
baby.
energy.
Yeah, I think it's summer.
Yeah, well, I just got back from 4.5 weeks in the South. It was summer all 4.5 weeks. It was like raining every day. Everything was dark and gray. And
we could use rain where I live.
Okay, all right. Well, God bless you and your vibrancy is what I'm noticing. Is that fair?
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Okay, all right. Nod there.
And I put the one Kubi snack in the chat for you.
It's in the chat. Okay, great. All right. That was a good one. Really, really, really good one. I might have to. I'm holding my phone, so I'm not looking at chat. But before I stop the recording, let me go ahead and do last call then. Last call for any comments, questions, jokes, stories, anecdotes, wins, compliments, questions, anything. Forget a Clue in 52. Tip number 30 overall. Tip number 8 from the networking section. Follow up and follow through.
Thank you, Coach Jeff. The energy has been a bit inspiring to me and uplifting.
Man, well, let me just simply say I love you, Charlie. All gratitude goes right back to you for finding a way to be here every week like you do. It means the world to me. And I share that gratitude with you, Patty, as well. The consistency, the love, the loyalty. I want to say loyalty because you guys are loyal to yourself, not to me. I just can't believe that you think I'm going to do something valuable every week and you're here like that. Likewise, Charlie, like I get a lot from you guys, and here you are thanking me for what I'm giving, but it's a mutual jam, and those are the best relationships. So I love you, my friend.
And you too, Coach Jeff.
Feel better soon.
And there's always value. There's always value.
Always. All right. Ready to see it with oh my God, your outfit seems to match my book.
I know, it almost does.
I love you, Patty. All right, here we go. Mwah. All right, sealed with a kiss. Thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good week.
All right.
Bye-bye, everyone. Have a good week. Bye-bye, Patty. Bye-bye, Coach Jeff.
Bye-bye now.